Hi, so today in this video we're going to be talking about evaluating algebraic expressions. So, all of the example problems are fairly simple as long as you understand a handful of concepts. When we are talking about evaluating algebraic expressions, typically what an equation will look like is something like 3x plus 4y, and then it will sometimes, in the ones that we see in this unit, it will have x is equal to, let's say, 2, and y is equal to, let's say, 1. So then what you do is you plug in the variables. It's really useful, at least for me, to add parentheses around the plugged in variables just to understand what is going on. So 3 times 2 plus 4 times 1 is the same as 6 plus 4, which is the same as 10. In other algebraic expressions, sometimes it will only set it to 0 or y. So if we have something like 4x minus 3 is equal, actually I'll do an easier one. 4x minus 2 is equal to 0, or actually let's say is equal to 2, and then it will say solve for x. To do this, we want x to be by itself, because x equals something is what x is, basically. You've solved for x. So to get x by itself, there are a few things that we have to do first. We want to go according to PEMDAS, the order of operations. So we'll add 2. And the reason why we're adding 2 to both sides instead of subtracting 2 is because we want to get the inverse of the number that we're working with. So an inverse is basically something that turns either, when it's talking about multiplication and division, into 1, and when it's talking about addition and subtraction, 0. So we know that 1 minus 1 is equal to 0, and negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. We don't want it to be on this side, we want to move it over. And anything you do to one side, you've got to do to the other. You don't want to change the equation, what it means. So 4x equals 4. This is the same as 4x minus 2 equals 2. It's just a different way of looking at it. And then from here, we want to divide 4x by 4 on both sides to get x by itself. This will turn it into 1x, or just x. We don't need that 1. 1 times anything is whatever that anything was. And then x is equal to 1, because 4 divided by 4 equals 1. So it'll sometimes ask you to solve for x, and that's a way to do it. And then sometimes it will give you variables and what those variables equal. In 6.R.4, the current unit that I'm discussing, I'm pretty sure it will mostly only give you the variables and what they equal, and then an equation to plug those in. So for this one, let's do 5x. So it's saying evaluate the following algebraic expression at x equals negative 4 and y equals negative 2, and simplify your answer. So we'll say 5 times negative 4, because that's what x equals, in parentheses, plus 2 times 2 plus 2. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. 2 times 2 is 4. And then plus 2, we'll just keep the plus 2. Negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. Negative 16 plus 2 is equal to negative 14. So our answer is going to be negative 14. The next example, I thought I had one. Maybe I don't. I think I just had that one example. Basically, you can see how we want to plug stuff in. Just so you're not confused, when it says something like 5x, it's basically saying 5 times x. But you can shorten it because you don't need the multiplication sign. It's not necessary. If there's a number and parentheses right next to it, holding another number or a couple of numbers, it doesn't matter. When there's not a negative in front of the 5, or the number outside of the parentheses, or a plus sign, then it is multiplication. It's implied multiplication. And then one more thing. If you have something like -5 to x plus 1 or something, which I'm not sure if we'll have too many examples like this, the -5, even if it was 1 minus 5, because we're doing the order of operations, this -5 is going to multiply throughout all of these. So it's going to be 1, and then -5 times x, so -5x, and then -5, when it's spread out like that. The negative is basically attached. If it's a plus sign, the same idea goes, except for this time you are not timesing by a negative, so it's going to stay positive. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah, have a good one.